Wow. Hey, everybody. It is Friday night. Not only is it Friday night, but it is Friday the 13th. You know, I got to tell you, as the calendar goes, usually Friday the 13th are really pretty good days for me. I mean, they're not certainly the horrible days that everybody, oh, it's Friday the 13th, be careful. It's just such a day where everything could go so bad, and that's not been my experience at all. I have pretty good Friday the 13th, so I hope yours is going good too. Welcome everybody to the show. As it's Friday the 13th, I thought, well, there's an old tradition that we used to do here on the portal, and it was in cooperation with Kev Baker's Freaky Friday. Every time on the calendar, Friday the 13th came around, we would do crossover shows back and forth. First Kev for 3 hours, and then the portal would launch with Kev and his crew, and one of his crew and longtime friend of the show, and good friend of mine personally, Mr. Naysay, is joining us because the tradition has become, when it's Friday the 13th, we get Naysay on. So Naysay is here with me. How you doing, brother?
Hello, my brother from the same Mother Earth. It is such a delight to bask in your brilliance. And I am as fantastic as the universe will allow.
Well, fantastic. It's good to have you here, brother. How's everything been going for you?
Well, it's been a 35% of snow participation.
Snow participation. Are you guys getting a bunch of snow?
Not really.
Okay, good.
Which is a bummer because I like to every winter at least once fill my water pipe with only tobacco use with snow.
With snow.
Yeah.
That's a way to utilize the elements. Yes,
and nice, indeed. Cool hit.
Yeah, I'll bet it is. Like the love of a frosty blizzard or something, right?
And whoever had the bingo card of how soon will Naysay bring up cannabis?
You just got one hit on there. Thank you very much. There you go. There's one mark on the bingo card. Well, good, man. It's good to have you here.
Wasn't it just in October?
Might have been.
Was there Friday the 13th?
You know what's weird?
Or was it September?
It might have been September. I don't even know, to be honest with you, because honestly, every week, every month just has been blending together for me. just because, and I don't mean to whine. That's not what I'm saying. I'm glad I'm busy. I'm glad I have a lot to do. I'm glad there's things, to handle with the shows, because that's of course important. But honest to God, I don't know. And it's because I just having a hell of a time keeping my mind straight with what the hell's going on right in front of me. So, but you're probably right. It's probably September, October. Anybody out there know? In the chat, feel free to let us know. When was the last Friday the 13th? That is chat participation time. Let us know when the last Friday the 13th was, because that would have been the last time Naysay was on the show, right?
And hello, all you miraculous perfections of unique individualism in the chat room, on the YouTube. And where else do people hear you, my brother?
Oh, they hear us out on the podcast as well. They hear me on the podcast, which is on all the platforms. So the Paranormal Portal podcast is released once.
Draw.
It says draw. The ghost box says draw. We're not going to be drawing.
Well, I'll tell you what, partner. You better watch out, because I'm the damn quickest draw in this part territory.
You can't see, but God, you can draw that quick.
Just make sure you're behind me when I pull out my guns.
There's no idea where that's going, but it's coming clean and fast. Yeah.
That was the first impression I got as soon as I heard draw.
Yeah.
I thought of the Wild West.
Sure. I was thinking of artwork. It's funny how our minds are different.
Do you remember the game Pictionary?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's still there, right?
Oh yeah. People still play Pictionary, I think.
We used to play Pictionary so much, we bought big chalkboards.
Oh, did you really?
And easels. Oh yeah. It was like a huge thing to have a very higher consciousness of Pictionary at the Shores home.
I'll bet you did. That sounds fun. Yeah. No,
So what do we got in tail tonight, Brent?
Well, we're going to get to the news, Naysay, and we're going to talk about a few articles tonight coming up. Again, we're going to probably touch base on some of the drone stuff that's been going on. You and I were talking when we were kind of putting together ideas for the shows. And
UFOs.
UFOs.
What are they called now? Unknown
UAPs.
Aerial phenomena.
Unknown, unmanned, unknown. There's like different UAPs. Unmanned aerial phenomena is one of their definitions. Unknown or unidentified aerial phenomena is another one. And God only knows what new acronym they're going to make up next. And I think that stuff is a bunch of horseradish anyway, because it's like, well, who the hell cares? Well, they decided they didn't want to deal with all the stigma around the UFO thing, but why? I mean, basically the stigma was always coming from the governmental side of it, like, oh, these people are weirdies. They believe there's aliens coming from the stars, and now they're finally admitting, okay, well, there's things here we don't know what the hell they are. So let's rename them instead. So that doesn't seem like we're talking about the same thing. Hello, Mercedes.
Well, I think it's part of the whole confusion of it too. Yeah. If we're going to go spelunking down the rabbit holes, and if we're not specific on what it's called, then a little sidetrack.
Amen. Somebody did a gifting of memberships here. Who did that? Who did it? And Hardwick rolled in.
Hardwick.
10 memberships. God bless you, sir. Thank you, sir. Hello, Michelle Wilfong. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in and checking out the show. Appreciate it. So it looks like SoCal Squatcher got one. Sammy, what is that? Sammy Batshit Crazy. I'm just reading the name. Sorry. Sammy Batshit Crazy got one. Rob Stewart, not to be confused with Rod Stewart. This must be his brother, Rob. Pamela Campos is here and got a membership, as well as Gary Reed and John Schmidt and Smith, S-M-I-F, as well as Maria Montefalcon. That's a cool name. What
was that again?
Monte, M-O-N-T-E Falcon. Monte Falcon.
Nice.
Then Amy's chair is here. I hope the rest of her is here too. But if it's just her chair, there's something wrong going on here. But she came to the right place either way. Chris D also got a membership. So thank you, Hardwick, for spreading the love and bringing more people into the family. Fair warning to all you members. I don't do a whole lot for members, and I apologize. It's not for lack of wanting to. It's just for lack of ability to. I'm a one-man show, and my show keeps getting more and more busy, and I'm just having a hell of a time keeping up. Just as a fair notice, today I did publish the video podcast of Monica Rollins, Our Paranormal World, which is up on YouTube as well as Spotify right now. I'm not sure if I'm going to put it up on Rumble because they just never get any views up there anyway yet. But anyway, there's 2 locations you can find the video podcast of my discussion with Monica Rollins on this week's podcast episode. I've got a few back shows to catch up with, but hopefully I'll get those done in the near future. I just want to say hello to people that are in the chat here. Oh my God, I'm probably too late on that. We got tons of messages here. John Temprin, Nocturnal Frequency Radio, Elaine Clifford, Mercedes Luck Benedict, good to see you, Lucky Benedict, sorry, is here. It's a wonderful friend of mine as well. And a wonderful friend of Kev's, actually, Naysay.
And I know her, too.
You do, too? Okay.
Yeah, she did that interview. It was a very pleasant, incredible time.
Yeah, she's a wonderful soul. Sinfully Wicked is here. Hardwick, Big D. Grandizer's here. John Temprin. And Elaine Clifford, Mickey G. Annie Manul. Rachel Gets It Right. I'm just scrolling and talking. As I said, Angelica is here, as well as Lacey Hart and Hayden. Those are 3 new members. Cosmic Shy as well. You're awesome, Brent. Love watching. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. I'm just looking for any new names as I'm scrolling wildly up because I started doing this way too late. Nocturnal Frequency Radio, of course. Flyer Tuck is here. John Stevenson. I think that makes the Johns all present and accounted for. Let's see. I think that might be it. I'm sure there's more, but I apologize. I just started way too late on the hellos. Yeah, that's all I'm going to be able to do. We'll just keep going forward. If I see a name come up that I didn't say, I'll try to say hello to you. Silver Cord 20 or 74 is over on Rumble. It says it's Dave. Yep, September unclassified. Yeah, September was the last Friday the 13th, Naysay, I guess. According to Silver Cord 74 over on Rumble. So, and
Thank you.
Big D is over there on Rumble, and Barbara Mora is kicking back over there. She said she's going to be hanging back, listening, not probably actively talking. So, very cool. A little twisted came in. Hello all. Hey Brent. Hi to you. Thanks for coming in. But I hope you guys are ready. Oh, Red Edge Savage came in. Cheers, a little twisted. All right. Well, good to see you all. Thank you so much for coming in and being a part of the festivities that is the Paranormal Portal. Thank you very much. We're going to get to the news, Naysay, and find out just what the hell's going on in the world. At least a little bit of it. As much as I could squeeze into the news anyway. What the hell is that?
Squeeze that lemon.
Why is this here? That's weird. Oh, yeah, I know. I had something hanging out. It's actually, my Zoom is minimized, but it made a little micro window of you. So I had to move it out of the way from the spirit radar.
The incredible shrinking man.
Yeah, you shrunk all right.
Yeah.
The fly, Naysay. All right.
Brendel Fly.
That's right.
The remake.
Yeah.
Jeff, what was that? Jeff Goldblum.
Yep, Goldblum. Yep.
Anyway, you got any intro for the news?
I do. Are you ready for it?
Ooh, I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Get ready for some 70s, I don't know, porn music. I don't know what else to call it. This is, the intro is made courtesy of Mr. Wes Germer, and enjoy this, of course, of Sasquatch Chronicles. So here's the intro to the news, Naysay.
Welcome. Paranormal News. That's naysay.
Well, hell, you're going to
now the news.
You're going to have to do the voiceover for me so I can tack it on top of that and mix it. So Annie Manole says news porn. And yeah, Cuckoo Town says, looking forward to our chat on Tuesday, Brent. Me too. Thank you. That'll be wonderful. Thank you so much. And yeah, hopefully have a good talk. I'm sure we will. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I guess I should turn on a camera. I'm sitting here looking at the camera like I don't even have the screen activated. All right, Mr. Nesse, are you ready to dive into some news articles?
Yes, especially if it's a shallow pool.
It's always shallow here on the portal, as you know. There's not a lot of depth going on here. We're going to get into the news. We're going to get into the news, ladies and gentlemen. And remember, we utilize a lot of different sites here on the Paranormal Portal, and I ask that you please visit these sites. Please support what they're doing. These are incredibly well done sites, and they need your love. Operating a big kind of website is a huge undertaking, and it's an expensive undertaking, and your traffic equals revenue for these sites. So please give them your traffic and your time and attention. If you like what we're covering on the shows, you're going to love these sites because there's so much more. So please support all of the creators that are featured on our episodes in terms of their websites. So let me pull this up. Let me whip this out. There we go. Jesus. That didn't work out real well. Is Rumble up? Did Rumble ever launch? Because it still looked like the pre-show screen. Are you, I don't know. Hey, Rumble. Is it working? Are you seeing the video? That's weird because when I pulled it up, it was still the pre-show spiral thing cooking. And I'm like, wait, that's not right. So I don't know what the hell that's all about, but I'm getting a huge, enormous, unclickable ad now. Okay, Barbara says, yeah, they can see it. So, okay, well, as long as you're seeing it, that's all I need to know. But we're going to get to some articles here and dive into all of the craziness. Here we go. This one is right off the bat, Naysay, from the UFO phenomena files of unexplained-mysteries.com. And I hope you're ready for this. Hang on, it's about to get spooky. All right, here we go. This is, again, from unexplained-mysteries.com. Whistleblower allegedly leaks images from secretive UFO program. Well, there you go. There's an image. And it looks about like you'd expect a leaked image to look like. Looks like a targeting reticle on a really grainy black and white picture of a flying saucer. Which I don't know if anybody could ever Photoshop something like that. That's a joke, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, it could be legitimate, but they got black marks on the screen, maybe to hide more information about what we're seeing. If this is indeed being targeted on a heads-up display in a craft of some kind, but let's check it out. The images, which have been shared online, allegedly show several UFOs from Immaculate Constellation. The strangeness began when Nathan, I got to get my glasses. There's a lot of weird letters in that name. And it's like, yeah, I can't just blow through that. Ludvitus, an investigator of all things unexplained who runs a YouTube channel entitled Strange Mysteries, received an email from an anonymous individual who claimed to have multiple photographs of UFOs that had been somehow leaked from the Pentagon's secretive UFO UAP retrieval program, Immaculate Constellation. The UAPs observed demonstrate capabilities far beyond conventional aerospace benchmarks, the whistleblower wrote, while noting that they were photographed above sensitive military sites. The images themselves are numerous, showing objects which range from cross or cruciform shaped to objects like triangles, boomerangs, discs, and more. The question, of course, is whether any of these are actual genuine photographs. There remains a distinct possibility that the individual claiming to have leaked them is simply trying to perpetrate a hoax. Many traditional media outlets would require verification of my identity and credentials. The person wrote, "This is not feasible due to the risks involved." Those news media organizations, despite their best intentions, are not equipped to handle the level of secrecy and potential retaliation associated with this information. And I was part of one of the legacy programs. I know that's vague, but unfortunately, that's all I can offer at this point. You can watch the original video concerning the email and images below. Real deal or hoax? You decide. I guess we could take a glance at this. I don't know how much of it I want to get into. This is Strange Mysteries. God, it's not a little website. That's a big YouTube site. YouTube site Strange Mysteries is 1.96 million subscribers. Holy mackerel. And if you're not already subscribed, you'll probably want to go check this out. But we'll take a glimpse at what he's showing us here. All right, I want to kind of mute through this. Maybe I don't want to. It sounds like it's more, I just want to get to the images part without stealing his thunder. And there he goes. He's going through some images here. It looks like it'd be a great episode to check out. Look at that. That really does look like a plus sign UFO. I've never even heard of one like that, folks. And looks like two of them in the sky. So is it possible? Maybe. I don't know. I've never heard of a plus sign UFO, or cruciform, as they say.
You've never heard of the Heavenly Cross?
Well, no, I've heard of that one, but not in UFO form, unfortunately. I don't pretend to be really well versed in UFO happenings and happenstance. I'm extraordinarily interested in it, but I don't have the time or energy to deep dive into all of the claims that are out there. So there's an update apparently as well that's linked on the end of this video. So I don't know. It's probably worth checking out. We glanced through a few of the segments of his video. It sounds fascinating. If you want to read more about it or watch the video in its entirety, I am copying the link and will paste it in the chats so you guys can do that. All right. But, again, this person's not giving any kind of validation or credential, so we don't have any idea what merit his claim has that this is indeed something top secret that he's leaking. But because everything that was shown on those videos could very easily be photoshopped or hoaxed, because the images are real grainy and black and white with grayscale coloring. So, and that can be kind of a red flag sometimes. I mean, obviously the targeting reticles or heads up displays are not going to give you a 4K video, but at the same time, it makes it real easy for somebody to hoax a video just by, recoloring pixels that are actually present in an image. And you can zoom in way in and actually doctor pixels on any screen and make it look like there's something there. So I don't know. But again, I'm not saying it couldn't be legit, but it might be. What do you think, Naysay? What do you think of an anonymous whistleblower that's unwilling to even substantiate their identity to the platform they're blowing the whistle to?
Well, that is the first flag on the play. Yeah. And, the biggest challenge since we went from analog to digital is that you having a better computer, the supercomputers, you can go deeper in on the pixels.
Right.
And those that can, go into the macro pixels, then they can manipulate it. And frankly, after William Cooper died, and in his last days, when he started talking about, 60% he predicted or suggested were ours.
Oh, wow.
And he also came out and said, "I'm sorry, I may have been giving you false information." And so I really held a lot of respect for him.
Sure. Absolutely.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've witnessed things that I cannot explain. And if you look at the totality of the individuals that make the same claim, I can't doubt it that some of them have to be real.
Yeah.
And then when you put in the whole vastness of the universe, and yes, I do believe there is a universe out there, but we do live under a dome, but that is our cranium. or our skull.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I don't cast any aspersions at what people believe. If they want to believe there's a dome and a firmament and that's it, and there's no outer space and stuff, that more power to them. I don't really care. The same, basically, at the end of the day, I still got the same bills to worry about and the same problems in my life. It doesn't matter whether we're on a plate or a globe. I still got to do my life. But anyway, I think you're right. I think there's that really does make it suspect. And in the chat, JRR Troll King, which is a new name, says highly suspect. And I agree. I think you're right. But yeah, I don't know. It's very crazy. But
I do recall at one point, I can't remember who it was. I want to say Stan Deo. But he was talking about over 30 different extraterrestrials have been reported visiting this planet. And
yeah. I've heard those claims too. And I again, those are pretty monstrous claims to make with absolutely no substantiation. Again, that's like, I don't, I mean, how do you validate or invalidate that? I mean, I could say there's Smurfs living under my bed and I'm not going to let you in to look. So you either believe me or don't. Now, I'll guarantee you there'd be some people out there who'd be like, yeah, there's Smurfs under his bed. Absolutely.
But it's not because the Smurfs made you sign an NDA and
maybe
you're not supposed to talk about them.
It's plausible deniability. That's all I'm going to say.
Right.
But, there is a confirmation bias out there that's really prevalent in these fields where people don't challenge a lot of claims with, really critical thinking. And I think you need to, because we're being fed a lot of horse shit a lot of times, forget the language, but it's true. People are throwing out crap all the time. Oh, this is my newest claim. Oh, look at these, look at these light streaks all over. And it's like, it's like mist on a camera. And it's like, well, no, those aren't light streaks. And that's a spider web and, all this stuff. But people have a desire. There are some people that have a desire that whatever they see, they're going to make it paranormal. And I think they firmly believe what they're doing and what they're saying. It's just that it's not grounded in logic. And I think you can't lose sight of that stuff in light of all of this weirdness, because there's plenty of legitimate weirdness around us that we don't need to fabricate another, 80 or 90% of it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Mulder and his famous poster on the wall. I want to believe.
Yeah. And I think most people do, but that doesn't mean you suspend logic and reason at the expense of wanting to believe. But I think, that's the distinction, is when you can still challenge things and look at them objectively, then maybe you got something, maybe you don't, but at least you'll have some kind of standard. But unfortunately, there's just a big soup out there of ideas, and it gets really confusing. But anyway, that was the first article. Keep the weirdness to a reasonable level. Amen, JRR Troll King. I like your name. That's good. Troll King. I like that. All right, so we're going to get to the next article, ladies and gentlemen, because there's more. We got more, and we're going to get to more right now. The next article up on the news is from, again, unexplained-mysteries.com. And I think this is a great idea. I think this is maybe good. I don't really necessarily know for sure what the hell they're talking about, but it sounds like some kind of Frankenscience, and it's probably a good thing to stop doing it. So let's get into this article, and they say this one is from unexplained-mysteries.com, and it's coming from the Science and Technology. I don't know how big it is now. It's good. It's doable. It says scientists call for ban on creation of high-risk mirror life cell microbes. Mirror life microbes. That's tough for me to say for some reason. Mirror life microbes. Okay. And let's get into the article so we understand just what the hell they're talking about. This controversial subject of research involves creating mirror bacteria using mirror images of natural molecules. Yeah, that already sucks. I don't like it. Turn it off, unplug it, burn it, kill it with fire. Don't do that stuff. Anyway, I'll continue. It might not be the first thing you think of when it comes to world-ending threats, but mirror life is something that most people likely won't even have heard of. I'm raising my hand. I'm one of them. But we're going to hear about it today. It appears to be a legitimate risk. Those working on this type of research are certainly not trying to create anything harmful. In fact, quite the opposite. Mirror microbes could have various medicinal and therapeutic benefits. But according to the international group of Nobel laureates and other experts, if mirror microbes were to establish themselves out in the environment, they could potentially slip past the immune systems of other organisms, putting everything from plants to humans at risk from lethal infections. That should not be done. The threat we're talking about is unprecedented, said evolutionary biologist Professor Vaughn Cooper. Mirror bacteria would likely evade many human, animal, and plant immune system responses, and in each case would cause lethal infections that would spread without check. The group is now calling on research into mirror microbes to be halted for the time being, unless compelling evidence emerges that mirror life would not pose an extraordinary dangers. We believe that mirror bacteria and other mirror organisms, even those with engineered biocontainment measures, should not be created, they wrote. We therefore recommend that research with the goal of creating mirror bacteria not be permitted, and that funders make clear that they will not support such work. The whole situation reminds us of a quote from Dr. Ian Malcolm in Jurassic Park. Scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should. Amen. That just sounds freaking terrifying. What do you think, Naysay?
Magic mirror on the wall. Which bacteria we create will be our fall.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, if they're introducing organisms that are just not even on, I mean, there's like a biological roadmap that I think all life has evolved around, and it's why we have immune systems that can fight robust levels and ranges of infections and stuff, because I guess we have our genealogies to thank for that. But if they're introducing stuff that's never been here before, and if no matter how careful they are, we're talking about bacterium. This is stuff the size of, microscopic level something. And if it got on anything and one of them managed to come out, I'm sure that there would just be an explosion. I mean, this is like a zombie apocalypse kind of thing just brewing, isn't it?
I just listened to this movie on, I can't remember what app it was, but it was called Life, and it was about astronauts getting microorgasm. Whoa, micro! That was a Scott.
I've never had one of those.
Scott slip there. A microorganism from a rock from Mars. And they started messing with it. And next thing you know, it started growing and being a heinous creature that had to battle. So who knows what's going to happen?
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's creepy as hell. Hey, Bigfoot Michigan Rob coming in the show. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. So yeah, I think Frankenscience should just go to hell and stop. I mean, granted, they may be able to engineer something amazing out of that eventually, but I mean, it's like any movie where they're trying to develop something. There's like the tubules, rooms of tubules full of all the fails, all the way up to, well, this is the good one, but then there's there's like a warehouse of fails, and it's like, yeah, but what if one of those fails got out, and what would that do? I mean, it could legitimately stop life on this planet as we know it. Brent, your guest, talks of Calvin from the movie Life. Yeah, is that Calvin? Is that the character? Okay. I don't think I've seen it, but that sounds creepy as hell. Wow.
Yes, he is correct.
He is correct. That's Grandizer. Grandizer's prolific chatter. He had many platforms. Every show I go and watch, Grandizer's usually showing up there. He and Jason Finch, those two are just like, they are doing the circuit. It's pretty cool. All right, well, let's get to the next. It escaped. Yeah, I'm sure it always does in the movies, but unfortunately, we have killer bees because of this kind of science, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, let's take an Africanized honeybee and cross it with American honeybee, and we'll have nice honeybees that work harder. No, you got killer bees. Thank you very much, you dicks. Yeah, these guys should not be allowed. They shouldn't even be allowed to vacuum a laboratory if that's the kind of crap they're going to do. Yikes. Paranormal Portal Don Longbeard popped in and said hi to Naysay. Oh, very cool. Don says hello, Naysay.
I'm all flustered and blushing in his beard and Donnie.
It's silky goodness. Yeah, I'm sure. Well,
total homo sapien.
Yes, absolutely. But he's giving you his love. So very cool. Good to see you, Don. Thanks for stopping in, brother. We miss you. Yeah, but that's the article. Anyway, we got more. Naysay. You ready for more?
Yes, with anticipation.
Okay. Yeah. Well, rather than keep you waiting, I'll just get right to it. This has got to be
pause.
This one's got to be a 10 on the suck meter right here. This one has to be a huge 10 on the suck meter, or maybe over off the charts, especially if you're the guy. Remember we talking about just a few minutes ago about how people make everything paranormal and they have this confirmation bias and stuff, right, Naysay? Naysay?
That's correct.
Okay.
This mute, I'm getting used to the mute. Sorry.
All right, that's okay. I just want to make sure that you heard me and I didn't lose you or something. But yeah, so this guy experienced the bad side of that, and let's get into this because this is a cautionary tale for us all, I think. All right, from unexplained-mysteries.com comes World of the Bizarre. Man stuck down a well for 3 days is mistaken for a wailing ghost. So he's calling for help, and people are like, yeah, that well's haunted, and they're getting the hell away. And of course, since they think it's a ghost, they don't want to tell anybody because they'll be weird then. So this guy was stuck in a well for 3 days, yelling and hollering, and everybody thought it was a haunted well, Naysay. Let's check out the article and see what the hell happened here. The man's shouts for help ended up being misinterpreted as evidence of something paranormal. According to reports, the man, 22-year-old Louis Chuanyi from China, had somehow managed to end up at the bottom of an abandoned well on the border between Thailand and Myanmar. Having suffered several injuries, including a fractured wrist and a concussion, he started screaming for help relentlessly, but quickly realized that he'd need to conserve his energy if he was having any hope of rescue. Instead, he tried shouting for help once an hour. Unfortunately, his cries went unanswered, not because nobody could hear them, but because those who did had become convinced that what they were hearing was some sort of ghost. This meant that the local people had began deliberately avoiding going anywhere near the well. This poor guy. Fortunately, though, in the end, someone did finally contact the police to report his calls, and rescuers arrived at the scene. And by the time he was rescued, he'd gone 3 days without eating or drinking. Thought it was a well. I guess it wasn't a very good one. Definitely wasn't the wishing well, Naysay. So this poor bastard's down there yelling for 3 days, and people are avoiding it, going, don't go near it, it's haunted.
I can't really have much empathy for him because I am on my day 5 of my winter solstice fast, so without eating, but I have been drinking. But do you remember Eddie Kuchikachi, Naratosis, Sammy, Cammy, Wacky Brown?
What the hell did you just say? Did you just speak in tongues?
No, that was the one that fell into the well.
No, I don't know this.
Oh, I can't remember it, but it was like a kid's thing. And Eddie Kuchikachi, Naratosis, Sammy, Cammy, Wacky Brown fell into the well, and he drowned because his name was so long. By the time everybody was sharing what happened, they couldn't get to save him.
Oh, Jesus. That's a tragic tale in itself. But this is an actual true story, apparently. So this guy lasted 3 days. There's no water in that well, I guess, and they say it's just a big hole. Maybe that's why nobody's using it. I don't know. How the hell did
at the beginning, you did say an abandoned well.
Did I?
And that's usually when they abandon a well.
When there's no water.
It goes dry.
Yeah, that's true. It does say that now that I'm proofreading again. It's funny how many times I read an article, but I just haven't actually paid attention to what I'm reading because I'm thinking about other things at the same time. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably stupid. But anyway, there you go. I don't know what to say about that, but there you have it. God, this looks kind of wild. Maybe we should look at this just because it's freaking creepy. It's from December 8th. And I just saw it on the margin here, but I think we're going to look at this. This is also from unexplained-mysteries.com. Nature and environment. Oh, dear God, look at the size of that. Oof. Viral clip shows gigantic snake in deep floodwater in Thailand. They say that looks like, God, what does it look like? How big would that look like? I guess this is probably a can size back here. I don't know. It's still enormous. It's like a 3-foot diameter python or something like that, and you can only see a part of it. We're going to look at it. The video shows the enormous serpent slithering from side to side with its huge belly protruding from the water. As if a deluge of floodwater wasn't enough of a problem, the people of Patani, a province of southern Thailand, recently found themselves having to contend with a very large and very hungry snake. According to reports, the snake, a reticulated python, had been terrorizing the neighborhood by feeding on chickens and even, if rumors are to be believed, an entire dog, which for a python is not a big thing. Dogs generally over there are not enormous. The flooding itself was a result of heavy downpours typical of Thailand's monsoon season, which occurs from September to November. The footage of the huge snake moving in the flooded streets has since gone viral on social media. Opinions on the situation were somewhat mixed, with some users expressing horror at the huge serpent and others appearing more sympathetic towards the animal. Some believe that it may have been stuck and unable to free itself from debris in the water. Sadly, the snake was found dead a couple of days later. Things weren't any better for the region's human occupants either, with at least 25 killed and 33,000 forced from their homes due to extreme flooding. Authorities have also warned that there remains a danger of mudslides. Let's look at it. Maybe it's not as big as it looked, but it looked plenty big in that zoomed in picture. Let's have a look. Yeah, there it is.
อย่างใหญ่เลยน่าจะติดที่อะไรแล้วก็ตายจมน้ำตายอันนี้น่าจะแค่ครึ่งท่อนหลังนะตัวอะไรครับเนี่ยอนาคอนดาใช่ไหม
Well, it looks plenty big. I think it looks big. I don't know how big. Maybe. What the hell? Just freaking stop. It looked big enough, I think. Anyway, there you go.
For a moment, I thought we just got hacked or something. I didn't know it was going to be a video with audio.
Yes, the Chinese hackers have gotten us, and they say they've long had their eye on the portal. I am a prime target for international hackers. Not really. I don't think anyone.
Well, that weather balloon was above you, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, it was, wasn't it? Well, there you go. There's a big snake in Thailand, but that is the home to a lot of big snakes. So I guess it doesn't surprise me one would happen to come through town. Doesn't look like it's doing so good in that image, though. There's no head. It's just the back end of the snake. So wherever the front end is a whole nother story. Maybe it's stuck in a storm drain or something like that, and it eventually drowned. Who knows? But anyway, that has been the news. I don't know. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you found there was some measure or merit in it all. And maybe you learned something. Hey, Con Squatch, good to see you. Jem Gwyn came in. Good to see you as well. Great to see you all. But that has been the news. Let's get back to the rest of the show.
Outro music.
Same as the intro. Here we go.
That was the news on Paranormal Portal with Brent Thomas.
a good production voice, actually. Who would have thunk it, right? The news was brought to you by the letters O, M, and G. All right. And remember that from like the electric company or something like that? They always used to, this show is being brought to you by the letters F. F-U. No, I'm just kidding.
That was Sesame, or no, was
I think it was electric company, I'm thinking. I don't know.
Hey, you guys.
Yeah. Yep, that was the one.
Did you know
Easy
Big
Reader.
Bird did get arrested for supplying Snuffleupagus heroin, and they found out Mr. Hooper was the dealer?
No, never ever heard that. Probably could have gone the rest of my life without hearing it too, but no, but that explains a lot, actually.
Right?
Yeah. Get some big yellow ostrich walking around with an elephant that nobody can see. Yeah, there's got to be drugs involved. There's got to be. So,
have you watched any? Sorry, totally off the subject. Have you watched any Christmas shows yet?
No, I haven't even watched much for TV in quite a while. I just, I'm kind of an internet guy mostly. I mean, I love sitting down and watching a movie or something, but I haven't watched anything yet. How about you?
Yeah, we watched this one called Spirited with Will Ferrell.
Oh, yeah? Was it good?
It was funny. It was delightful. Unfortunately, that big corporate, Apple, you have to have Apple TV to watch it.
Okay. I gotcha. No, I haven't seen that one, but yeah, maybe perhaps one day I will. Is it a holiday movie? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I haven't checked it out. I'll have to watch The Grinch or something. I don't know.
I know. I did also watch The Grinch, the one with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
And queued up The Little Drummer Boy and Year Without a Santa Claus, and Santa Claus is coming to town.
Aww.
And Rudolph, and the classics.
The classics. Yep, that's where the island of the misfit toys came from Rudolph. All right. We have a lot more to get to, obviously. So, Naysay, you and I have been talking a little bit about all these drone reports, and I'm here to tell you it's kind of concerning because I don't know what they are, and I can't pretend to know, but I mean, what is your take on it, I guess? What is your take? Is this something to be concerned about potentially, or do you think it's maybe much more earthly in its origin, or what is your take?
So going back in time, finding all these different evidences and occurrences of UFO encounters, and then as time progressed, we find out that Orson Welles and his radio broadcast War of the Worlds was actually a psychological or psyop.
Oh, sure.
And it was to test to see what the general public would, react to such information. And I think it was the Brookings Institute that came to the conclusion, in order to continue the continuity of government, it would be in the best interest not to tell the general public about extraterrestrials. So whether they be extraterrestrial, interterrestrial, dimensional, there's something, a phenomenon that is happening and well observed by the multitudes. And so my assumption, since the powers that should not be always want a boogeyman because of the weaponization of fear, if they can give us a boogeyman, then we're afraid of something. And if we're afraid of something, oh, mighty government, help us, save us, protect us. But, I mean, how well are they to protect us if these drones are unknown and flying over military installations?
That's the big question, though, isn't it? So, I mean, It's nothing new that there are UFO reports, and UFO sightings are real common around military installations. Like they always have been, right? That's like one of the places where a lot of these reports come from, is people seeing people on base going, hey, we saw this weird stuff like the Rendlesham incident in the UK. And I think the Dakotas had been buzzed many times near the intercontinental ballistic missile silos and stuff. And it just seems like a real commonality that, these UFOs are visiting bases always. But the drone swarms are I find very interesting because generally speaking, seems like most of these sightings were maybe 1, 2, potentially 3 craft, in an area checking it out, and then boom, they're gone. But these are like swarms of 20, 40, I don't know how many, 80 I've heard up to, of these drone-like things coming in. And they're using the term drone, but you'd think if it was a drone like we know drones, that they could just take them out. Why would they not take them out? They say.
Exactly. And there is allegations, just like we have aircraft carriers.
Sure.
For helicopters and airplanes, there are drone carriers that are above us at this time. And imagine, I think it was one of the Avenger movies where they had their big flying ship. And interesting enough, the big ship had the huge looking drone. Well, I was told the descriptive wasn't that good, but I asked for more descriptive of it. Mm-hmm. So in a military access, yeah, I could see how that technology would be beneficial when you send out 80 drones and you got 3 bad guys to get rid of. Unfortunately, thinking of the AI and everything, what if the AI all of a sudden took over all the drones?
Yeah, is this like Skynet? Yeah,
exactly.
That's a sobering thought, actually. We got a couple of comments from chat here. JRR Troll King says, do you really think that if the U.S. was being surrounded by drones that were not ours, it would not be World War III? Good point. You'd think they would, but they're coming on record. This is the part that's kind of concerning to me, is they're basically on record going, yeah, we've had these weird drone sightings around our bases and we're not sure what they are. Well, first of all, you're the military. You're not supposed to let us know that you have no handle on a situation. That's not a comforting thing. Now, here's the thing. If in my estimation, for whatever it's worth, I've always felt like I don't really buy into the whole aliens are evil and trying to do all this evil stuff to us. Maybe some of them are, maybe some aren't. I don't know, but it's just, again, we're kind of jumping in with all these theories, like this soup of theories about what is going on here. But I think that if aliens were going to take over the world, and they've been here as long as they've been here, why would they wait till we have bigger sticks now? Why wouldn't they do it when we were just lobbing rocks at each other? It's like, well, there would have been no problem at all. But now, of course, we can detonate thermonuclear weapons and stuff like that. Why would they wait? If that was their agenda all along. And so I don't know. I don't kind of buy that personally. That's my hang up personally. But I really am kind of disheartened by the fact that they did press releases like, yeah, we got these drone things coming over the bases. We're not sure what they are or whose they are. It's like, that's not what you release to the public. Don't tell us that. You're supposed to at least have the illusion of being in control here.
That goes back to that continuity of government, because if we don't believe the government has it all together, then we're like, why do we follow their rules?
Well, sure. Yeah. And John Temperance says, what the hell? Dogmen are living on army bases. There might be, yeah. But I think if that's the case, they might be Franken-science in themselves, but I don't know for sure. Little Twisted says, they're just testing drones. Biden showing China our hand before he's out. No big deal. I mean, God only knows, right? It's possible. SoCal Squatcher says, I think it's China. Conrail Fan says, I want to know why we don't have Apache helicopters and F-18 smoking these things. If they are drones from a nefarious country, that needs to be stopped pronto. Amen. That's exactly my feeling on it. Yeah, they are. Consquatch says commercial drones are legal, but the thing is that I think there are controlled airspaces where they aren't legal to be flown. And one of those places would be over Army bases. That's just not okay ever.
And Obama, he bought over 40,000 drones. And I remember when he was questioned about it, he said they were only for surveillance purposes. But then the follow-up question was, if they're for surveillance purposes, why do they have the
missiles?
Armament bracket?
Yeah. Why do they have missiles on them? Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess he did quite a lot of drone attacks during his presidency with these observation platforms. So
the most ever.
Yeah. But, the other part of it is the drones then look like planes. But now these things that they're allegedly showing pictures of or video of just look like blobs. They almost look like plasma balls. They don't have the regular flashing lights on them. Not that would be hard to change. If you were, at all tech savvy, you could change the lighting and stuff on them and no problem. But it is concerning. Yeah, I don't know. Do you think, Naysay, this could be the opener for potential disclosure?
Well, to be cynical, again, I think of Project Bluebeam, where they proclaim that they can make this imagery in the sky.
Right.
But then also knowing that they have black helicopters that have whisper mode, which means like 10 yards above you, you can't hear a helicopter.
Isn't that crazy? Wow.
So, I mean, nothing is surprising me anymore, Brent.
Yeah.
After all these years of spelunking down the rabbit holes, I'm like, bring it on.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, and granted, it's not like we have any direct control over any of it anyway, but, I think we can at least have the discussions, and share thoughts.
And as I've shared with you many times, I'm worried about that Galactic Federation where they're arguing about the humans, and one alien's like saying, give them a chance, they'll figure it out. And one is like, get rid of them. And then the third one is like, they taste like chicken, we'll take them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the intergalactic KFC or KFH, Kentucky Fried Human. I don't know. Scary stuff. But whatever.
All these additives and preservatives have been more or less marinating us.
Yeah, we would be intergalactic junk food. There's no question. Yeah, there's no question. Why aren't they asking MUFON? Because they are ours. A Little Twisted asks. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what kind of. I think MUFON does a lot of things right, but again, it's a voluntary thing, where people can report things to MUFON. They do some research as well, but I don't know how well funded they are to really be an official voice in the UFO conversation. I think they are a voice, but as far as an official voice, but that's a great question. I mean, you'd think MUFON would have something to say about it, and just even release a press release. Well, this is from MUFON, and then New Force as well. This is what we think. This is what MUFON thinks, and nobody's going to hold their feet to the fire like, well, you said you're wrong. Screw you. Well, nobody knows. Jason Finch says, Naysay Kevin Shores, you are amazing, awesome, fantastic, and appreciated. Brother, nice to meet you, my friend. That's from Jason Finch in the chat.
Well, thank you so much, Team Gwitch. I appreciate the kind words.
That was Jason Finch.
And may I only be a reflection of your miraculousness.
Yeah, amen. Amen. Well, there you go. But anyway, I just thought we would talk about it. This happened in Spider-Man Far From Home when Mysterio used hologram projecting drones to fight Spider-Man. Wouldn't that be something? Suddenly, there's a big dragon at a military site, and it's just a bunch of blue beam drones. Yikes. Yeah, I don't know. I think it would be remiss to dismiss blue beam personally. Sure, I mean, I don't begrudge that. It certainly could be. This could be the start of them unveiling their next level of control through fear. Wow, we're being buzzed by this stuff, and we're being overrun. We got to crank up our control. and authority so we can act without congressional oversight or any presidential mandate. Yeah, maybe that's the scary version.
And maybe, Elon Musk, with everything he's shooting up into the sky, I think he wants a total of like 36,000 satellites up there for his whatever he says he's doing with them. Then maybe if some extraterrestrials are like, hey, this is interfering with us coming into your atmosphere.
Well, you're bringing up a really good point, though, because I'm here to tell you, on Halloween night, right in the skies here in the north of Idaho, this whole stream of lights came across the sky. And I saw it and immediately went, oh, that's Starlink, which is the satellite internet thing. I thought, well, they must be moving a bunch of drones to a certain area for some reason. And sure enough, then social media started lighting up with these videos. And I took a video of it and shared it on Facebook. It wasn't really great quality. It's just through my iPhone, but you could see it. And I'm sure it's Starlink. But how many people maybe have never seen that before, and they're seeing it now, and they're thinking, oh, that's one of those drone swarms, and how would they know? That becomes the weird part. So how do we differentiate? They maybe should teach people what should be in the sky, like, hey guys, this is stuff we put up there that you should be aware is up there, so it doesn't, alien drones.
Well, just recently there was a operation, a drone operation. I can't remember what it was, out east, and apparently 4 people accidentally got shot. It was a training scenario.
They accidentally got shot?
Yeah.
By whom?
I want to say it was Philadelphia.
Okay.
But I can't remember it. I do a lot of Twitter spaces. Excuse me, Twitter X spaces.
Okay. Sure. Okay.
And I go to a lot of conspiracy rooms. And we were discussing this. And, if William Cooper was right when he was claiming back in the late 90s that what he was witnessing is our technology, because the maneuvers that these lights were doing is beyond what the human body can take as far as G forces go. Okay. And so that's where we get the unmanned aerial vehicles.
Right.
That's military. Unmanned aerial vehicles are military.
Okay.
That's a military acronym. So interesting how it's all changing, and again, it's like the confusion of it. So we can just sit here and speculate till the cows come home, but who knows?
Right. Well, yeah, and that's it. I just wanted to hear your thoughts about it, because we really hadn't had a chance to really dive into it in our side conversations about it, and plus the thoughts of our community here, just to see what you guys were thinking about it. I just think it's interesting, and it's probably way too early to jump to any conclusions. Obviously, so far all we know is that people are seeing weird lights, and they don't look like the usual stuff that people see. What is it? What do you guys think? Right?
Well, the other thing is I don't call it AI as artificial intelligence, or I call it algorithm intelligence.
Oh.
And if we know within mathematics the Fibonacci sequence and the golden mean spiral and everything in between, that we can use algorithm intelligence to calculate how a swarm of bees react or a flock of birds. Oh. And so if we have that same scenario and we put that into drones, then they can swarm drones. So it'd be great for attack. It makes me think of that Star Trek. Star Trek number 9, I think it was called Insurrection.
Okay.
And the people were trying to run away from the village, and the drones came and shot them with little tagging darts so they could take the transporters and beam them up into a cell.
Oh, okay. Okay. Huh. That sounds pretty creepy, yeah. But yeah, I mean it's all very fascinating stuff, and again, we don't pretend to have any answers here, folks. So if you're looking for any conclusions or something, you're in the wrong place. But it's just worth noting. I think it was, who was it? John Temperance says the problem is people are finally looking up. Ooh. Well, there is merit to that. I mean, it's good that people are actually opening their eyes. This could be a false flag invasion, Aussie Tiger says. Yeah, I mean, it might be. Hell, what do I know? Again, Bluebeam was referenced earlier, and I think, that might have some merit here. And it wouldn't surprise me if, whoever is behind that isn't putting out government-wide flyers like, hey, guys, we're going to put these lights in the sky over here, so just so you know, that it would be very, very compartmentalized if something like that was being done. It wouldn't be like even public knowledge within the government, even in the secrecy of intelligence agencies. They probably wouldn't know what for sure was going on, because if that's being done, then there's a pretty serious meaning behind it, and the more people know, the more likely that it's going to get leaked. So, but Naysay, can you take a couple minutes and talk to the people about things you've experienced in regards to lights in the sky? I know you've talked about UFO sightings before, right?
Yeah.
Let's see which. I want to get a libation here, so I'm going to put you full screen, and I'm going to go get a drink quick.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay, now that he's gone, I'm going to tell you guys a bunch of secrets about.
I'm still here. I'm not gone yet.
Dang it! All right.
All right. Now I'm going. Now I'm going.
So when I was a little kid, I used to live in North St. Paul, Minnesota, on Cowan Place, and this was back before the developments of the other neighborhoods were there. And so we had a cul-de-sac, and if some of you know, a cul-de-sac is just kind of a dead end, but it's like a bulb or like a teardrop. And we used to go up it went up and just over the hill, the cul-de-sac. And as little kids, we used to go there and play because there was no houses developed in the cul-de-sac. So there was no vehicles ever going through. And so we're out there playing once, and then all of a sudden, one of our friends, Jody, starts screaming, and she has a horrified look on her face. And then she points down the field where there was a big pond, and all of a sudden everybody else is screaming and running away. The only thing that I remember is that I thought I saw something coming out of the water and going up into the sky and joining with something else. And it was so terrifying that for a month or so, my parents would walk me up to the cul-de-sac and point out to the lake, and everything's okay, and nothing's weird. Well, lo and behold, as time progresses, just recently with the Johnny Depp remake of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, there was a scene in there where he had these UFO type ships that would drop a tube down into the chocolate river that was stirred by a waterfall. And they would suck up the chocolate, and a gust of gloop got stuck in the tube, if people remember this. But when I saw that, I all of a sudden had a reoccurrence of a flashback that when I was a kid and I saw this thing from the pond, that was what I saw. And I called back one of the parents that still lives at the top of the ridge there, or hill, just before the cul-de-sac. It's no longer a cul-de-sac. It's a road now, and development happened down there. But I asked her, do you remember the summer when all of us kids, and there was probably like eight or nine of us in totality, and that we all freaked out? And she said she remembered us freaking out and we're all afraid, but she didn't remember what was the reason. And then I explained to her about that that occurrence that happened by witnessing that movie. And so she found that very interesting, but she still couldn't positively claim she remembered any specifics, except that we were all afraid and ran for the parents. But yeah, so this is the interesting thing of my experiences. I've always pondered why was that I was that individual that saw these strange or phantasmagorical things throughout my life. So that's one of my favorites of the experiences I've seen. And now back to Unthirsty Brent.
How did you know I was here?
Ooh, magic.
Oh, sure, I'm blind. Yeah, I'm Mr. Blind. Whatever. You've been conning me this whole time.
I may be 2-eye blind, but I'm third eye sighted.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But thanks for doing that. Thanks for talking to everybody and filling them in on your stuff. That's cool. That's wonderful. We're going to get to, I don't know, we're going to get to some other articles here. We're going to spend a little bit of time in Phantoms and Monsters land because I got a bunch of great articles lined up here, and I want to hit one of them, and then we're going to probably hit one cryptid, and that'll, well, maybe two of the other ones, and then one cryptid. But yeah, we're going to get to this.
Does that have intro music?
No, I don't have. Well, the cryptid corner does, but this part doesn't.
Okay.
I haven't made one for this one, just for, I should call it like a world of oddities or world of the strange or something. I don't know. I'll have to come up with the transition. Thank you, Nace. You've just given me something else to worry about. You thought you were here to help. All right.
Do.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, here it is. This is from Phantoms and Monsters, ladies and gentlemen. This is Lon Strickler's site, and it's an amazing site. Very, very well done. And Lon has been a long-time friend of the show. He does a hell of a job. He probably did a live stream earlier before I went live. He usually does his live stream 6 p.m. Pacific, which would be 9 p.m. Eastern time on his YouTube channel, which is Phantoms and Monsters Radio. It's also the name of his podcast. So you can check out either or both or all, but check out phantomsandmonsters.com for an incredible amount of information and stuff about all of the strangeness that Lon covers. But this one is an article, Nace, that I think you might find interesting. It's 6-foot-high toilets are the lower levels of Denver International Airport housing giant beings. Have you ever heard that claim before? Nace?
I'm like, okay, he did say 6-foot-high toilets.
Right. So like as tall as I am is where they're rolling the brown loaf, I guess. I'm not quite 6 foot. I'm like 5'10" So I'm in the neighborhood, but I guess they're about 6 feet tall, the toilets in the Denver International Airport.
Well, it's also strange to me, too, because if you know around the world, indigenous people use the squatting method for pooping.
Oh, yeah.
And so you think these aliens would have some type of setup, you know, more so than Americans. And, we have indoor plumbing. Oh.
Well, you know, I definitely couldn't do the squatting thing. I do way too much reading in the study personally, but anyway, let's check out this article. Of course, we've all heard the speculation about what's going on in the basement of Denver International. What is going on there? There's allegedly there's a whole community or city or something allegedly beneath this airport. Now, I don't pretend to have any idea personally, but I've heard these claims for years and years and years, all the way back when they were building it. People are saying, man, they're digging way far down for something. This doesn't make sense. And could there be like a Men in Black thing going on under there? But let's see what this article says. A reader contacted me about an account that was told to him. We're at third level removed now. Okay. The Denver International Airport has been the source of various strange events since it was built. Hi, Lon. This is a third-hand account. I wasn't there. I did not know the person who had this experience, and I've got no proof. I've never been to the area, but when my coworker told me of this account, she was physically shaken while she was telling me. My health is changing, and I want to get my experiences out there so someone may find use of them. I was told about this in 1991. I was the charge registered nurse of an AIDS HIV 50 bed inpatient unit. One of our nurses had moved to town from Denver, Colorado, and was employed at our facility. Well, over time, we became friends and talked about our lives, and I could tell she wanted to tell me something for a long time, but I just never pushed her. I let her open up when she was ready. I had no interest in UFOs at all, but working in this facility, we all had spirit encounters. The building we were in was an old nursing home, so speaking of things we saw there was common with all the staff. And she told me what happened to her boyfriend in Denver one day. And again over time. She was so disturbed by it. He did some type of construction work. And at the time, this would have been in the late 1980s. And he was working in the lower levels of the Denver airport, where the Denver airport would have been at the time. And one night he came home shaken and told her he got in big trouble at work. He was working in his section, which he was not allowed to roam around, but had designated areas he could only be in, and there was security around to make sure. Well, that day security was lax, and he wandered down some hallways, finding other hallways that were huge, wide, and tall. The doors in the hallways were very tall, unusually tall, with high door handles, and they were difficult to open. One door was slightly open, and he went in. It was a restroom. Rows of stalls, like any other restroom, except the toilets, were 6 feet tall. White porcelain like a regular toilet, but massive in size. He could not see the top of the toilet. Across from the stalls was a table, and he had to get against the opposite wall to see what was on it. There were large faucets and handles, and there was a washing sink. No mirror on the wall. Security suddenly came in and grabbed him, taking him back to his designated area and lecturing him that he knew he was not to leave his area. Well, that night he told his girlfriend what had happened, and he was fearful he was in big trouble. Who would need such huge toilets? The next day they both left for work, and at night she came home, and he was not there yet. She never saw him again. His keys, dog, clothing, and everything were still at the apartment, but he and his Jeep were missing. Later, the Jeep would be found abandoned out of town. He was never found. His family never heard from him, and there seemed to be little investigation into his disappearance. Well, she waited at the apartment for a year, hoping he'd return, but no one heard a word from him. She moved and still never heard a word, and never did any of his family. She would tell me this story again and again, very upset and scared. She later moved off, and I lost track of her, but never forgot her account and how she gets so upset telling this story to me. Years later, I heard rumors of things going on under the Denver airport. Who knows what's going on, and who would use 6-foot toilets? And Lon says, I have posted these accounts previously, and there's Reptilian encounter in Denver International Airport, and then there's just a strange places at Denver International Airport. That sounds interesting. I think we should probably read those another time. That's pretty wild, huh? What do you think of that, Nacy? 6-foot toilets.
Well, one who stands on toilet must be high on pot.
Oof.
But
or wait.
Oh, tough crowd.
Yeah.
But he didn't say anything about like walking through a 12-foot door.
No,
or
he said
30-foot door.
No, they just said they were really big doors.
Yeah, you would think if there was a 6-foot toilet in a bathroom, then it probably had like a 30-foot ceiling.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe.
So there was no mention of that, because that would be the first thing that, first of all, if I walk into the bathroom, I'd claim a miracle, but I'd look for the handicaps. Well, I couldn't even look for the handicap still.
Yeah,
but I'd know by the echo of the room that this is a huge chamber.
Yeah, I know. If it sounds like you're in an old YMCA basketball court, then yeah.
Right.
Maggie does say ha ha ha, and they say no, that was good. She liked your high on pot. So
nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maggie.
Yeah, you got some props from the chat, so that's nice. Sounds like a restroom for WWE guys when they're in town for WrestleMania. Yeah, I don't know about 6-foot toilets though, but there's some monsters in wrestling. There's no doubt. God, one year I went. It was about 6 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, maybe 7, maybe 8. But I went to there's a local amusement park near here. It's called Silverwood, and it's an amusement park where they got all the roller coasters and all that stuff and whatever. But around Halloween, they transition it to what's called Spookywood. And so the whole place is like a Halloween themed amusement park. And it's really cool. Well, there's this one thing that you can do in there is this train ride. And it's kind of takes you through the normal train ride that their train always goes on, except they got it all set up as like a zombie apocalypse kind of setting. And there's these actors on board shooting guns and with blanks in them and stuff and fighting off the hordes of zombies that are trying to get to the train. It's really a lot of fun. But there was one guy on there who was, I guess he's like 7 foot plus. The guy is enormous. He walked by and I felt like a toddler. I was just like, oh Jesus, that guy is huge. Like his belt is at about my chin. It's like, oh my God, not probably that much, but I mean, the guy was just huge. He was just big and he was muscular. And I guess he's also a semi-professional wrestler, but it's not hard to see why when he was that big. Anyway,
so in my wheelchair, I'm like 3'11".
Yeah.
And when I was at the University of Minnesota, one time the basketball team, like 5 or 6 of them, came walking by me, and I'm like almost lower than their kneecaps.
Nace's in his own little crotch parade.
Right. The joys of being in a wheelchair. Or no, I didn't say joy. The horrors of being.
Oh, you poor guy. You poor guy. Well, good thing they didn't have a night at the chili barn before that. You might have been dead. Just saying. I'm an idiot, Nace. I'm an idiot. All right. Well, that was the first article. I thought that's interesting, though. I've never heard reports about huge toilets down there or giants. I'd usually heard it referenced to secret societies being under there, the elites having a base under there, or even extraterrestrials, but never giants. That's kind of a new one for me.
My favorite tidbit of information of the Denver airport is in the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, when they were putting the music into a computer and they came up with a location within the music.
Uh-huh.
And then the guy asked the operator, "Where is it?" And they point to the screen and you can see the number. But then they said in the movie it's the Devil's Tower in Wyoming.
Right.
But if you took the numbers and put them in a GPS, it was the location of the Denver airport before it was even started construction.
Oh, really?
Well, because Close Encounters was 73.
No, I think it was like 77, wasn't it?
Was it later than that?
Yeah, I think it was after Star Wars, but let me see.
Yeah, and I don't think the Denver airport started construction till the 80s.
Okay, when was this? December 14th, 1977. Yep. That's when Close Encounters of the Third Kind was released. Huh. Yeah.
I saw that in the theater.
I did too. That was a pretty creepy movie. It was weird when I think the part that I had the hardest time was when he was screwing around with his mashed potatoes, making devil's towers and stuff. And I was like, God, what's wrong with that dude? Stop it. I'm a kid, so I don't really understand this obsessive compulsive thing. But yeah, that was creepy. Like, quit playing with your food. Damn it. Didn't your mom teach you?
Richard Dreyfuss was great in that one, though.
I think there's a base under Denver Airport. Could be, John Tembrin. Could be. Yeah.
I'd concur with that.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Cuckoo Town 77. It came out December of 77. Close Encounters of the Third Kind came out. Still,
so did you check construction start date at the Denver Airport?
Let me see. When did construction begin for the new Denver International?
Wow, groundbreaking ceremony, Denver Airport.
2018. No, that's not it. Construction. When did it begin? It's 2022, 24, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. When did they break ground? Let me try that. When was groundbreaking ceremony for Denver Come on. You want to know what one of the most you want to know what one of the most worn out keys on my keyboard is? It's backspace. I swear to God. Let's see. It's not giving me any. It's giving me. What the hell?
It like gives you a response of Nanya.
Well, it's saying like August 2022, the groundbreaking for the Concourse A. Groundbreaking for the CFEA took place on 2023. Come on, I'm talking about the original.
But there is a lot of anomalies about the Denver Airport. You could do a whole show on all the strangest. I think we did once with Freaky Friday. If I recall, we went deep into the
that was
Denver Airport.
Kev was big on this kind of stuff for sure. I mean, I have to admit, I'm less knowledgeable about such things, but I've heard many of the claims of even some weird the weird artwork and how has codes in it and stuff like that. I mean, I've heard all this stuff. I've been to Denver Airport and just in a pass through, dropping off from one plane, catching another one, but never wandered around the place. So very strange.
I almost have a hate for Denver.
You do?
Colorado especially.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, because back in 2007 when they started legalizing cannabis, number 2, all my dealers left town, allegedly.
Oh, they all left town and went where?
And started growing it in Colorado.
Oh. So,
it was against the law in certain areas.
That's true. Well, at least that's opened up quite a bit. But anyway, yeah, very strange. What time do we have? Because I did promise. Let me see. What is this one? Okay, so I can close the 6-foot toilets. This is a time slip one from Boot Hill. This is kind of a sweet looking story. It's also kind of long. I might save it for tomorrow. I think that one's a little too long. Let me go to the next one. I've had this one open for a while. This one I can read. And then we'll get to that one cryptid story for the cryptid corner to round it all off. It's not a real heavy cryptid show tonight. We're talking mostly about a lot of UFO-y stuff and some intriguing potential conspiracy stuff. Believe it or not, which is not a avenue we tread very much here in the portal, but it's still all a part of the weird and bizarre. Concept of a new airport for Denver dates back to the early 80s. In 1980, the Denver Regional Council of Governors, DRCOG, began investigating potential sites. So I guess they started investigating sites for the new airports in 1980, Nase. That's from the chat.
I stand somewhat corrected.
Yeah, but you're in the neighborhood. It's 3 years difference. Not bad. Not bad. But here we go. This one's from Phantoms and Monsters. It's Angel in the Woods, ladies and gentlemen. I thought it might be a sweet story. I don't know. I haven't read it, so we're going to read it together. The witness told the story about walking through a snowstorm to fetch the doctor in town. He was soon accompanied by a man and his dog, and the man later vanished with the dog. I received the following account. This took place in 1909 when my great-grandfather Harley was 7 years old. He lived deep in the Maine woods with his parents and 2 siblings. Harley's father was away for a couple of weeks due to his job, and it was beginning of winter. He helped his mother care for the family home and his younger siblings. One day he was helping his mom hang some laundry out in the cold when she fell ill and fainted upon entering the house. Well, Harley did his best to care for her, but after a couple of days, it seemed his family had all become very sick. He was fine, and he recalled his mother telling him that he had to take a journey into town to fetch a doctor. Well, the walk was 10 miles or so, and he was only 7. My God, people were cut from a whole different kind of steel back then. He had to be strong as he was the man of the house with his father gone. Well, he bundled himself up and headed out early in the morning. It was cold and began to snow, and Harley started to doubt that he could even make it. He said the snow started blinding him, and his feet were so frozen that it was hard to keep going. And suddenly, a friendly dog greeted him, and behind him, a man. Well, Harley was relieved. The man was very handsome and wore a strange coat that didn't look warm enough. It looked like leather and had fur around the collar. The stranger introduced himself as Finn and asked him where he was heading, and he said he was going the same way, and they walked side by side through the storm along with Finn's dog. Harley said they talked and talked, although he didn't remember what about, but he did recall feeling warm and safe and full of energy. Well, the journey flew by as they approached the small town. Harley looked around to see that the dog was gone, and when he looked back at Finn, he had disappeared as well. They were quite a ways out of the woods, and there was nowhere he could have gone to. Well, Harley was confused, but soon found someone to speak with. Unfortunately, they couldn't go back out for a while due to the huge snowstorm. And sadly, my great-grandfather's mother and siblings had all passed away. Oh, dear God. Now, the story didn't end there. This twist has always boggled my mind, and I just wish I had the answers. Harley married my great-grandmother, Sarah, and they named their firstborn son Finn, after Harley's angel in the woods. Finn was a handsome man who became a pilot against his mother's wishes. In 1941, he crashed his plane flying solo, and my grandmother couldn't speak his name again until she was old and on her deathbed. I saw an old photo of Finn in his leather bomber jackets with fur around the collar, and I always wondered if he had been the angel that saved my grandfather's life. How's that for a twist, huh? Nice.
Sorry. Sorry, I was trying to put something in the chat.
Oh, that's okay.
But yeah, the strangeness.
Are you there? Did I lose you?
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Okay. That was weird.
Okay. All I heard was those strangeness and then nothing. So I'm not sure what you said.
Oh, I was just talking about the strangeness of it all.
Yeah. Well, that's where we live here in the portal. It's all strange. They say it's always strange up here, but that's kind of cool. I don't know if this is the actual picture that they're showing here or just an old pilot photo from some time, but that's pretty cool. Cool story. Cool story. All right. I think we're going to get to the cryptids now. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for one cryptid corner. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Cryptid Corner. We are diving into the creatures and cryptids, which are always a good time. We always have a lot of fun with this. I know a lot of our listeners are definitely cryptid enthusiasts, so You guys have come to the right place, at least for now. This is a little lighter cryptid show than normal. We usually cover almost the second hour as cryptids, but at least the last 40 minutes. But this time you're getting 15, and we're going to cover another story from Phantoms and Monsters. And again, this is why I love this site. There's just so much that Lon posts on this site. And it's not just one flavor. It's just every flavor of the weird and strange and unusual and cryptids and Fortean and ghosts and UFOs, strange phenomena. It's all up here, and there's thousands of encounter reports that Lon has posted. He's posting several each day, so please support his site. 3-foot-tall, black-scaled reptilian humanoid seen near Canberra, Australia. This one's for you, Maggie, and all you Aussies, Aussie Tiger, all of you. All of our Australian listeners, because it's Australian. Gotta love some cryptids, eh? All right, here we go. All right. He was walking by the stormwater drains about 100 meters from his house when he caught sight of a child-sized, 3-foot-tall or so, black-scaled reptilian humanoid creature. And that was a mouthful. I received the following account. Hi there. I live in the capital of Australia, Canberra. I thought that was pretty good, Australian. How'd I do, Maggie? I'm still trying. Really? It's like, sorry. All right.
We don't think you want to piss off some of them Australians down under.
Australians don't like to be pissed on. Thank you, Maggie. She says, thanks. All right, so I live in the capital of Australia, Canberra. My friend witnessed something pretty intense, and I was on the phone while it happened. So I heard it and heard him. And he's never prone to displays of hysteria, but he's totally freaked out by his encounter. He was walking by the stormwater drains about 100 meters from his house when he caught sight of a child-sized, 3-foot-tall or so, black-scaled reptilian humanoid creature. Well, he described it as having long fingers and bright cat eyes when they caught the light. It followed him home and climbed over the fence after him. It was studying him and not behaving particularly aggressive or hostile. It walked on 4 and 2 legs. He shooed it away with an umbrella. Very British of him, I know, which is when I heard it make a high-pitched hiss growl and then take off. We wish to make an expedition to locate and take film of the adults, but we do need help. A bunch of ill-prepared idiots, we are not. But question remains, armed or not, night vision, torches, EMF, provisions, maps of tunnels, inform someone in case of getting lost, fluorescent chalk markers for trail signs with black lights for picking them up. But we need to know about them. Details. Is there anyone in Canberra who can add a professional touch to our survival rate? Any advice on the subject would be very much appreciated. And have we forgotten anything about our equipment? Thanks, Jay. When I made an inquiry, I received the following. It's in Gordon, a suburb of Canberra, about 100 meters away from the house, is a stormwater drain with underground access. It's on the same street as the local shops. The incident occurred at about midnight. My friend tried communicating with the creature at my behest, and it stared at him while standing upright. Then, when he stepped towards it, it ran. Over a 5-foot fence, it had a reptilian, almost humanoid features. The tunnel system under Canberra is very extensive, covers most of its underground, all leading to rivers or lakes. Don't know what else to tell you, Jay. And Lon says, I never received another response. Well, it's a claim. I don't know. Anybody, any of our Australian listeners, have you guys heard of potentially humanoid reptilian creatures in Australia before? Because it's kind of a new thing for me. I can't say I've dug up many of these before, if ever. I don't think, I don't know. So any of our Aussie listeners that are here in the chat, let me know. Is this something that's claims come up every once in a while, or is this a very big anomaly? I'm kind of curious what your take is. Aussie tiger, never heard of it. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't surprise me, right?
I'm going to have to give Luna a call.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Go do whichever you got to do. Who's
No,
Luna?
no, not now. Luna, she used to be a Australian that would come in on the Kev Baker show every now and then.
Oh, is that
when
right?
We would talk about the strange phenomenons down under.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Paranormal Portal. I saw a dude in a Brent coat. What's a Brent coat? With a what's a Brent coat? With a lizard tail sticking out. I assumed it was a cosplay. Oh, trench coat. You mean a trench? Trench? Or is there such a thing as a Trent coat? I've never heard of a Trent coat. I've always heard of trench coat or a duster, like a cowboy duster. That's interesting. Australia has strange animals at the best of time. Trench coat, stupid. Trench coat, stupid autocorrect. Okay. Well, what if it wasn't cosplay though, Maggie? You know, one of my favorite movies, just as far as bizarre, and I've told you guys this many times, but I thought, what a brilliant idea. And it was the movie Mimic, where these huge humanoids, they were just big insects, but they could approximate looking like a humanoid in a hat and trench coat kind of look. That was what their exoskeleton looked like that was their camouflage. And they'd just be around people in the subway, just kind of waddling around. And then people would go missing and they'd find like parts of them. And it was these weird, creepy insect things, which is absolutely terrifying. But anyway.
You said Mimic, right?
Yeah, Mimic, I think.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, that was creepy as hell. And that little boy with the spoons that was like, and they didn't attack him because they thought, well, maybe he was one of them. Yeah, he could click the spoons and make it sound like the lizard, the insect people did. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That is creepy stuff. I don't know. I've never heard of many of these. Again, not to say that I'm, expert on all things lore and legend around the world. I mean, if they're in the U.S., could they be in Australia? Sure. Devil's Advocate with Reeves was interesting. Oh, I don't know if I saw that one. You guys have crocs roaming around there. Being naked in the river would make someone a snack. Yeah, I think they're mostly saltwater crocs, though, aren't they, over there? So they don't usually like the fresh water. At least that's what Crocodile Dundee told me. Good eye. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and with the, the hollow earth theory, which grew from the, what was it called? The
I can't remember either, but I know what you're talking about.
Prior to hollow earth, it used to call cavernous earth.
Yeah.
And if you think of all the tunnels that have been found, and I can't confirm or deny that underneath the Wabasha Bridge in St. Paul, if you slide down the grade and you face inward and you grab the next ledge, you can crawl back there where there's a gate where 9 out of 10 times someone has broken the lock that they continue to try to close this little gap. And you can allegedly go under the tunnels of St. Paul.
Have you allegedly known anybody that might have done that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Did you ever see anything? Did they ever see it? Did they ever see anything weird under there?
This individual that I specifically know way too well was too afraid to go that deep into it.
I don't blame him.
Because there was only a couple of us. I mean, a couple of them.
Yeah.
But we used to go to the mushroom caves across the river from St. Paul on the South St. Paul side.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and we used to go exploring those, and we used to go there for the weekends on the parties, and
cool. That's really.
But
cool.
Especially when you look at the bootlegging period, they were utilizing a lot of tunnel systems, to transport their alcohols.
Yes, in fact, under Spokane, Washington, there's a lot of tunnels that interconnect most of the downtown buildings in the old downtown area, and they were rumored to be for during the speakeasy, the 20s and stuff, moving stuff around, out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. The story Mimic is based on is a short story written in 1942 by Donald A. Wollheim. Oh, that's fascinating, Rachel. Thank you. Movie's based on the 1942 short story. Gotcha. That's fascinating. Yeah. I'm just glad it's not based on any true story. That would be horrifying. Well, there you have it. Yeah. I don't know, Naysay. It's always an adventure, isn't it? Naysay?
Sorry, I thought my youngest was talking to me.
Oh, okay. Well, no, I'm talking to you.
She's on the phone. She was just walking by.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. No worries. No worries. I don't know what you've been up to otherwise. What do you got going on? Anything coming up? Anything interesting?
On Sunday, I get to break my winter solstice fast.
Wow.
As most people are confused by the Gregorian calendar, where the sun and the earth don't care about its existence at all. So December 21st is the winter solstice when the Gregorian calendar was established. However, you do have to do a little arithmetic and count the hours of the day and the hours of the night and pay attention, because once it's the longest night, then that is the winter solstice. And I believe it was actually on Sunday, because I have many different applications that give me the moonrise and moonset, sunrise and sunset, and they don't concur with each other.
Fascinating. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that the calendars aren't absolutely accurate when it comes to the solstices.
But one thing I should share, since we haven't at all, it is Friday the 13th.
Yes, sir.
And some people may wonder where the historical marker of this ominous day occurred. Mm-hmm. Well, if I may historically give it to you.
Sure.
In 1307, the Pope and the King of France proclaimed that all of the Knights Templar were heretics and blasphemers and were practicing evil works. And so they really wanted all their gold and money and riches. And so on Friday the 13th, the morning of, it was to round up all the Templars. Fortunately, they had a well-secured network and were forewarned, where 1/3 of their fleet went to Scotland, eventually becoming the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. Mm-hmm. 1/3 went to London and became the New York Rite of Freemasonry. And the other third went to the Caribbean islands, where they created a military stronghold and tried to figure out the complexity of invading the New World and get all of those resources. And eventually became the pirates of the Caribbean. Skull and Bones.
Okay. Gotcha. Very cool. That's quite
quick
a history
synopsis.
lesson. Yeah. Skull and Bones, which continues to be the basis for a lot of our political hierarchy, doesn't it?
Oh, those iconographies and symbolisms.
Yep, exactly. Maggie says, goannas get pretty massive, though, so it could be mistaken identity, talking about that lizard thing. I'll have a look-see. Interesting. Thanks for the article, Brent. Well, thank you, Maggie. I appreciate it.
And I do think there are lizards that have been known to run on their hind legs.
Yeah, but they're little. They're like little dinky things. And they got like the frills on the side of their face, so they look like they got the...
Well, remember the telephone game? Did you hear about Bob when he went to Australia?
No. Tell me about it.
Well, he met this little, the original story was he saw this little tiny lizard run across or away from him or something. And eventually, by the time Dorothy heard it, it was a 3-foot lizard reptilian having a combo.
Sure. Get this. Maggie says, yep, the Jesus lizard runs on water. They got a Jesus lizard that runs across the water. That's fantastic. They called it a Jesus lizard. Wow.
Nice.
That's fascinating. Well, I'll tell you what else is fascinating. It's fascinating that 2 hours have already got behind us, Naysay.
What?
Yeah, it is true. It's true.
Wow.
Well,
time sure flies when you don't pay attention.
Well, I just want to thank you for being here with me, brother. It's been an absolute thrill fest and always a pleasure and an adventure. And I'm glad that we're upholding the Friday the 13th tradition, man. This is awesome.
Yes, long live Captain Kev. He's there on Speculation Island. Last I heard, he's drinking pina coladas with Sasquatch, a couple UFOs, extraterrestrials, you name it. The whole realm is there. He just came back from his galactic tour.
Good for him.
And now he's just chilling.
Yeah, I appreciate it. He's probably riding Nessie around the pool. Yep. There you go. Well, I tell you what, that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. Yes, and special love. And this show is always in honor of our good departed friend, Mr. Kev Baker, who hopefully is looking down on us and smiling and giving us the big nod. We love you, brother. God rest you. God bless you. And thanks for the journey, man. It was fun to share it with you.
And a special hello and hi and thank you to the chat.
Yeah, of course. We have the
Always
greatest
enjoy
chat.
them.
We have a wonderful, wonderful chat room. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for us. Thank you all so much. I'll be back tomorrow night for the Saturday show. I hope you all will join me then. We'll dig into a lot more of this strangeness that we call the wonderful world of the weird and unusual, which is where I live. So welcome to my world, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for sharing my journey into it tonight here in the Paranormal Portal. So that's going to wrap it up. Just remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice, take care of each other, help each other out, find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. And I'll see you tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right on the same platform you're watching now. So just come back then. I'll be back, I promise. If not, I'll have a pretty good excuse of why I didn't. So that's it for us, guys. Take care. Naysay, hang on the line. I'll talk to you on the outside. We'll be back tomorrow. Good night, everybody.
Toodles.